Almighty everlasting God, we come before you this morning. Lord, we are honored to be in your presence, to be alive this morning, Jehovah God. We pray that even as we begin this competition, oh God, that you may be with us, oh God. May you order our steps till the very end, oh God. Thank you for our guests, O King of all glory, and thank you for every participant and every person who is here, oh God. Our super blessing upon them, oh God. Be with us till the very end. In Jesus' name. Let's kindly rise for the national anthem.
Baraka kwetu, haki wengao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi.
Thank you.
Honorable Justice Mr. Peter Kiama, Executive Director, Independent for Legal Review, Mr. Greg Tarrant, Director of Field Operations, International Justice Mission, Mr. Ulf Kaldan, Field Office Director, Energy Wars Movement, our DPC administration, and all protocol observers model. Welcome to the 6th edition of the All Kenya Group Competition, where we are saying, let's talk human rights. Now, we might not be having time on our side, so we'll go straight to the program for which you have with you the blue paper. And we'll begin with the opening remarks from the Dean, Kenyatta University School of Law, Mr. Zulapiti.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning once again. It's a very beautiful day today, very sunny. And I think our spirits are also very high, and we are happy to be here. As the MC has said, my name is Nzuki Mwenzi. I'm the Dean at Kenyatta University School of Law, and therefore your host for today and tomorrow. So you're very much welcome to be in this school. It's one of the small boys around the corner as far as the law schools are concerned. And therefore, please enjoy the atmosphere of the school, as well as interact with our esteemed students who are really, really very interactive and very communicative. Therefore, I wish you well as you endeavor to hold the All Kenya MOOT competition. But first and foremost, I want to welcome the Honorable, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Professor Gibbon Muigai, karibu sana. And I would also like to take this opportunity also to welcome the Honorable Justice Luka Kimaru of the Criminal Division of the High Court of Kenya. He has always been with us, just as well as the Attorney General has really been one of the stakeholders who is always with us on very many occasions. And this is not the exception. So welcome, Honorable Attorney General. Welcome, Justice Luka Kimaru. I will not forget also to welcome our sponsors, namely Kenya Law, Mr. Longe Terrell. Welcome, please. Peter Kiama from IMLU. Welcome. You are doing a very good job, and therefore we feel honored for you to come to this occasion. I would like to even go further and also welcome the Director of the International Justice Mission, Mr. Greg Tarrant. Please welcome to this occasion. We are very pleased to have you here. And also Mr. Martin Mavezima, from the Kenya Human Rights Commission, as well as Mr. Ulf Teriden. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it very well. It's quite tongue twisting, but we are very pleased to have you here. Those are our sponsors, and without them, this occasion would not have been what it is this morning. Last but not last, I want to appreciate our VC, Professor Paul Wainaina, who could not make it, and therefore I give his apologies this morning. But he has sent his able assistant or vice, the DVC administration, Professor Fatuma Chege. I know most of you, probably my students do not know Professor Fatuma Chege. Maybe you can just stand and wave. This is our new DVC administration, Professor Fatuma Chege. I'm told to make just brief remarks, but I hope I don't take very long. Not to forget also one of the participants who we met somewhere, Maricela Oma. Please just greet the people. That is Maricela from the Attorney General's office. Now, just a very small comment on the All Kenya MOOT competition. This is the 6th edition of this competition, which was started just at the time I was starting my deanship 6 years ago. And it's very befitting that today is the 6th edition of the same Open MOOT competition, and it is also the anniversary of my leaving the deanship. So it's really a very, very auspicious occasion for me, and a great honor that I will be the dean making these remarks this morning, because there is an incoming dean from next week. So I thank God that I've been here to oversee the All Kenya MOOT competition in its 6 editions, this being the 6th. And I just want to say that the All Kenya MOOT competition has been an annual event of my students in this school, and it has been on the competition has been various topics of interest over the years. And as you can see, the theme of today's All Kenya MOOT competition is that striking the balance between respect for human rights and maintaining national security. So, what I can just say is that we are very honored because 2 of the heroes of human rights and also matters of security are here. The Honorable Attorney General, Justice Luka Kimaro. You have read his judgments, you know what he is doing in the courts, and therefore it's a great honor to have them with that kind of thing. Lastly, I just want now to welcome all our visitors from all the other schools, and I would like to request, if there's another dean from another school who has come, just to stand up and just say hi. Then dean from, or representative from the deans from the other law schools. Any representative from the deans? Yes? From? Yes, Kisi.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for that meeting. Next up, we shall have a representative from the Independent Medical Unit. Mr. Peter Kiama had to leave, but we will be having Ms. Anne Lama, who will be presenting Mr. Peter Kiama. A round of applause, please.
The guest of honor, Justice Luka Kimaro, Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Dean, Kenyatta University's Parkland School of Law, members of staff, the participants, and all ladies and gentlemen present today, good morning. Allow me to read Peter Kiama's speech, but he has had to leave, as Timothy has already indicated to you. I'll read briefly the speech to touch on today's theme, striking the balance between respect to human rights and maintaining national security, which is a theme that falls squarely under our mandate as IMLU. I am honored and delighted to congregate with you this morning to add my voice and that of IMLU's board and staff to a matter, a struggle that touches on the life of every Kenyan, the struggle against impunity, the struggle against the culture of formal violence, the struggle against hopelessness among our youth, especially those who live in poverty and joblessness, a struggle against the culture of death. I thank those who choose the theme. It is not only relevant, but timely. He speaks to dualism. First, there has been the dual narrative of human rights and security being in opposition. For us to transform our governance process and systems, we need to discuss ourselves of this dualism. Human rights define human security. Individualism, international and national development requires protection of human rights. Therefore, you cannot have security without protection of your human rights. The problem is that we have fallen for state-centered definition of security, which is about protection of regimes in power and elite alliances. The situation is dire. Just to point out, for instance, the recent Meru student who was brutally murdered by an allegation by a police officer. There's also the Kweke Mwandaza case. And recently we also seen in court the Debipendo case. At IMLU in 2017, we have recorded 152 cases of extrajudicial killing. This is just to speak how the situation is there. The statistics from 2013 to 2017 shows a total number of 764 recorded extrajudicial cases of killings. Medical legal link in criminal justice and civil litigation has gaps, and we as IMLU call upon everyone to embrace the link between medical and legal in order to assist the survivors of extrajudicial killing at large and also as torture. Thank you for that, and we look forward to having an interactive session, and may the best student win. I wish all of you luck.
Distinguished Attorney General, Distinguished Justice Mali, Dean of Kenyatta Law School, other distinguished guests, and participants, good morning. It is good to be with you this morning. I think this issue of the balance of the coercive powers of the state and the individual rights and freedoms of people is one of the great questions of our time. I think, as you see, this debate is happening everywhere in the world, from the United Kingdom, the United States, to Russia and China, to here in Kenya today, throughout Africa. This truly is something we're all looking to and asking, where is the line? How much force is needed? Right? How much force is too much? At International Justice Mission, we deal with this question every day. Our goal is to protect people from powers of violence, and specifically police abuse of power. So we see this all the time, and it actually became quite personal for us as an organization when our colleague and friend Willie Kimani was killed by police officers. So for us, this is not just theoretical, this is an important thing to drill down into and to look into. His case is ongoing, and one of our great hopes at IJM is that we will see that when police overstep their bounds, they are held to account by the state. At the same time, I would say we understand the difficult work that police officers have to do. They have been given the power to arrest and detain for a reason. You need law and order in your society, and you need police officers who will carry that out. And so it's a difficult, challenging job. And I think this is why this topic is so interesting. I would also say that I think my generation around the world has failed to address this issue. We're seeing it everywhere. It's, as I said before, it's an issue all over this globe. And so what I love about today is to look out and to see young people, law students, who are going to debate, who are going to discuss, who are going to research this topic. And my hope is you shed light on what we can do around the world to address this issue of individual rights for people, but also the state security system, the state power. So, like others, I wish you the best of luck. I'm very interested to hear what you talk about. And yeah, we'll see the best woman or man who succeeds at the end of this time. Thank you.
The Green Kenyatta University of Law, fellow sponsors, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am not Martin Mavingina. My name is Nasanda Aki. I stand in for Martin Mavingina, who is away on other official duty. He wishes that he was here, but he told me that he was trying to join us in the course of the day. Kenya Human Rights Commission was very pleased to sponsor this, to be part of the sponsors of this MOOT court, because we pride ourselves in championing for human rights, and extrajudicial killings form part of the violations of human rights. We have a program under our thematic areas, transitional justice, which seeks to support victims and survivors to find redress in various platforms, especially in matters of extrajudicial killings. In so doing, we have held a series of community dialogues in different counties in the past couple of years to try and identify victims of police brutalities, whom we have assisted to access justice in conjunction with our various partners in the civil society. KHRC has also been involved in policy and legislative engagements and reforms together with the National Assembly, and we have engaged members of Parliament to try and address gaps in our law that give police officers leeway to commit extrajudicial killings. The National Coroner's Bill and the Prevention of Torture Act have greatly benefited from the input of KHRC. At the regional level, KHRC has also used its observer status to advocate for better policing services that include ensuring police officers implicated in extrajudicial killings are held accountable by responsible agencies. We have also used the regional platform to offer various recommendations towards enhancing police reforms and accountability. So this MOOT court couldn't have come at a much better time. It's come at a time when critical issues of trying to strike the balance between national security and human rights are a discussion, especially following the elections and the post-election violence, which so many people brutally injured and even murdered by the police. So it is my belief that the deliberations here will go a long way in addressing critical issues of extrajudicial killings that form part of the strategic objectives of Kenya Human Rights Commission. Again, Kenya Human Rights Commission was very pleased to partner with the organizers of this MOOT court, and all the best to the participants. Thank you.
The Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable Attorney General, our Chief Guest, Justice Luka Kimaro, the Dean, Parklands Chapter, and all protocols observed, in addition to our great participants. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. I just have a message from our Executive Director, Mr. Samuel Kimeu, who happens to be out of the country. As transparency, we are the champions of fighting corruption. We have always been at the forefront in the fight against corruption. So ours is just from the entire message from the family of Transparency International Kenya, my pleasure. We are pleasured and we are so happy to have been partnering with this great team in terms of organizing for this great discussion here. And we are looking forward to many more. Despite that, in as much as we wish the best lady and gentleman, the best of the two, the best of luck, and as we congratulate them in advance, ours is also to, in addition to that, to add the youngsters that let's just keep the conversation going. Let's not stop it here. We have a lot to discuss. These are the kind of thematics that we are interested in. As transparency, we are looking forward to many more in terms of being supportive. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, let me be brief, but not without recognizing the presence of the Attorney General and Justice Kimaru in particular for this important topic. I think this is a great opportunity on a rather critical issue, and I really appreciate that you take out the time for that. And to thank the Dean, Mr. Mwenzi, for the welcome. My name is Ulf Linden. I'm the director of the Regional Office of the Heinrich Böll Foundation, which is one of the 4 German political foundations present in Kenya and in the region. And we are the one that's associated with the Green Party in Germany, associated, not part of. We are linked ideologically and thematically. So we work on issues of gender democracy, environmental issues, food rights, and regional and international dialogue, including civil society and human rights in the region. And as such, I wanted to first of all congratulate you for picking this particular topic for this debate. Many before me have said how timely it is, how relevant it is also. And I just want to abuse the opportunity to highlight that this is for us a support that we're giving in the context of a wider engagement in which we've also partnered with many of those present here, including IMLU, the Mathare Social Justice Center, Amnesty International, the International Justice Mission, KNCHR, and Africa Uncensored, on a project called The Missing Voices. It is not yet public, it is not yet out, but it is going to come out in the coming months. And it will be showcasing the victims of extrajudicial killings, the circumstances of their lives, the circumstances of their deaths, and the judicial follow-up that their deaths have seen. And in other words, it will be telling the story that these missing voices did not live to tell. We do not approach this as an easy subject at all, and for sure your discussions will reconfirm that over the coming 2 days, that it is a complex issue, and one that requires broad engagement and no simple finger pointing, simple allocations of blame, but a very deep discussion, I think, of the legal context as well as the institutional responsibilities attached to it. So in that spirit, I wish you the best of discussions and hope that you also generate some insights that will further help to address this issue in the interest of both human rights and the Constitution. Thank you very much.
And hashtag the All Kenyan MOOT. And you can tag us as well, the All Kenyan MOOT, and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you. Just before I invite the DBC, I'd like to recognize the members of staff Parkland campus who are here, and I'd like the same to stand and mention the name, Dr. Faith Kabata. Thank you. A round of applause for her. Madam Mboyo, Professor Thomas Gile, Mr. Kenneth Nkudi, I hope I haven't forgotten any of director. Only I have not finished my units in So, without further ado, the representative of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Inana, with Fatuma Cheke, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. Mine is the humble duty of reading the remarks from our Vice Chancellor, and it's an honor for me to have been asked to do that. And before I do so, with your permission, the Honorable Attorney General and the Justice Kimaru, is to take note that this MOOT court competition hall is fully packed. It is fully packed, and this is what the Vice Chancellor is not able to see wherever he is. He's away abroad, and I will take this message because it tells us how well organized the competition has been, and it tells us something about the sponsors and the organizers. Thank you very much. And the second thing also is to note that the Parkland Law School of Kenyatta University, the school is intact. Dean, thank you very much. We know what is going on in the country, and this is a message that I really need to take back to the Vice Chancellor, that the school is going on, its activities are going on uninterrupted. As people pursue their rights, they are also allowing the others to pursue what they have chosen to do. So thank you very much. Now, the Honorable Attorney General, Professor Gil Muigai, Chief Guest, the Honorable Justice Luka Kimaru, Judge of the High Court, the representative of the Attorney General, Dr. Maricela Uma, Executive Director, Henry Ford Foundation, Kenya, Executive Director, Kenya Law, Executive Director, International Justice Mission Kenya, the Executive Director, Independent Medical Legal Unit Kenya, Executive Director, Amnesty International Kenya, Executive Director, Kenya Human Rights Commission, Representative, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, Representative, Transparency International, members of Faculty of Schools of Law, Universities of Nairobi, Moi, Strathmore, Riara, Jomo Kenyatta, Kabarak, Nazarene, PC, and the Catholic University of East Africa, members of faculty, Kenyatta University School of Law, students from various law schools, including all competitors, distinguished guests, the famous Kenyan phrase, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning from the Vice Chancellor. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you this morning to Kenyatta University and to the 6th edition of All Kenyan MOOT Court Competition, AKMCC. Kenyatta University is once again proud to host the 6th edition of the AKMCC. It is a signature MOOT competition involving all Kenyan law schools that is organized and hosted by the Kenyatta University School of Law students. The MOOT competition offers all Kenyan school law students an opportunity to engage in academic discourse on a contemporary legal issue. Through the MOOT competition, Kenyatta University aims to stimulate learning and also initiate national discourse with a view to providing solutions to contemporary social issues. This is in line with the philosophy of Kenyatta University, which is sensitivity and responsiveness to social needs and the right to every person to knowledge. This year, the theme of the MOOT competition is striking the balance between respect for human rights and maintaining national security. Undoubtedly, the theme resonates with Kenya's current issues. The issue of guaranteeing national security while ensuring respect for human rights remains an ongoing concern in Kenya. Questions of how to counter terrorism while maintaining respect for human rights and how police ought to deal with criminal gangs features in day-to-day discussions in this country. By adopting this 6th edition's theme, Kenyatta University creates a platform to stimulate national discourse among law students, the judiciary, the national security agencies, legal practitioners, human rights institutions, both government and non-governmental, the academia, and other agencies dealing with human rights, policing, and national security. The AKMCC is thus a symbol and a metaphor through which, as law schools and as institutions of higher learning, we can make a contribution in resolving contemporary societal challenges. Over the next 2 days, 11 law schools from across the country will be competing for the top prize. I must congratulate all the participating teams for having come this year. Your participation in this MOOT competition is a stepping stone to your legal career. It is our hope that your participation and engagement in the next 2 days with judges, magistrates, esteemed legal scholars, human rights practitioners, and renowned legal practitioners will transit legal knowledge and help instill fundamental ideals and values, not only in the practice of law, but in responsiveness to humanity in successive generations of lawyers. Finally, I would like to appreciate the sponsors of the AKMCC, Kenyatta University, Heinrich Böll Foundation, Independent Medical Legal Unit, International Justice Mission, Kenya Law, Kaplan Stratton, and the Kenyatta University Students Association for supporting the School of Law in organizing and hosting this event. We say asante sana to all teams. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and I wish you all the best of experience in this competition, and may the best competitor win. Thank you very much from Professor Ponki Wainaina, Vice Chancellor, Kenyatta University.
Now, Luka Kimaru. We are very honored and happy that you've been partnering with us. Let's all rise as you come forward.
You may sit. Be seated.
I'm surprised that I was invited to talk before my teacher, Professor Mungai. But I recognize him. My teacher, Professor Mungai, is the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. DVC, Madam Natuma, the Dean, Mr. Zuki Mwinzi, my learned friend, Maricela Ouma, our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yes. So, I'll make my speech. Nelson Mandela, the founding president of the Republic of South Africa, said, to deny people their human right is to challenge their very humanity. John F. Kennedy, the President of the United States of America, said, the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. The above two quotes by the globally renowned world leaders bring to the fore the competing moral and legal dilemma for states in their quest to balance respect for human rights vis-a-vis ensuring that a state's national security is guaranteed. The dilemma therein has been how to determine what ought to take precedence over the other. This need not be the case as the two concepts are intertwined. Human rights have been held to be rights that accrue to an individual by virtue of their existence irrespective of race, sex, nationality, religion, or any other status. As such, they are God-given, inalienable, and not granted to an individual by another individual, the state, non-state actor, or whatever the case may be. The global community under the ambit of the United Nations, in recognition of the importance of protection of human rights as a tool for promotion of global peace, drafted and adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, which has since been ratified and domesticated by most of the member states by enactment of Bill of Rights, forming part of their constitutions. Some of these human rights include the right to life, the right to liberty, right to fair trial, to name but a few. Human rights are at two levels, in that there are those which are absolute, inalienable, while there are those that are not absolute. National security as a concept has been defined by many international relations and security scholars. I, however, choose to go with the definition by one of the leading scholars on international security, Barry Buzan, who is a professor of international relations at London School of Economics, who in his works, New Patterns for Global Security in the 21st Century, opined as follows, and I quote, "Security is about pursuit of freedom from threats and ability of states to maintain their independence, identity, and integrity against forces of change, threats which they deem hostile to the very existence of the state." End of quote. The nation of the state must herein be construed to be the people within the state as well as the territory within which the people in the state reside. The concept of national security, therefore, is about state survival. As such, where threats towards the state are detected, the same warrants some form of emergency action by way of taking exceptional measures, which may include use of excessive force or denial of fundamental rights to ward off the perceived threat. The understanding, therefore, is that the perceived threat possesses the ability to limit the enjoyment of rights by exception of the state, and the suppression of the threat, therefore, is meant to ensure that the same does not occur. Therein lies the national security problem. Globally, in the aftermath of the September 11 attack, 2011 in America, in the American homeland, and the dawn of the 21st century globalized terror forays across the world, governments across the world under a raft of measures aimed at making their country countries safe. This took the form of legislations, amendments to existing legislation, and executive decrees. One of the biggest casualties of this war on terror was human rights, which were thought to hinder the attainment of national security objectives of the state. The narrative was that human rights, such as the right to fair trial, the right to picket, the right to assembly, the right to privacy, and the right not to be subjected to arbitrary arrest, would stand in the way of national security of a nation, and as such, the rights should take a backbench role in the states. In Kenya, the Bill of Rights contained in Chapter 4 of the Kenyan Constitution 2010 is the anchoring framework for social, economic, and cultural policies. It is binding on all state organs. However, the rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Bill of Rights are absolute only in few specified instances. But even the rights which are limited are protected from abuse by a careful network of provisions. Article 25 of the Constitution has set out rights and freedoms which are absolute. Freedom from torture and cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment or punishment, and right to an order of habeas corpus is one of the absolute rights. All other rights are provided for in the Bill of Rights can be limited as long as they comply with the requirements of Article 24 of the Constitution, which is the limitation clause. In the wake of increased terror attacks and political unrest, there has been allegation that the state has under the guise of national security concerns been infringing on the rights of its citizens. Most of the complaints have been on state agencies' compliance with the provisions of Article 49, 31, 32, 33, and Article 50 in the Kenya Constitution 2010, which deals with the rights of suspects, and accused persons as well as privacy rights. There has been hue and cry from many of the human rights and governmental organizations on the issue of lengthy pre-charge detention of suspected terror suspects and the subsequent denial of bond upon being presented to court. They argue that the security crisis has led to exaggerated claims of danger by government and unnecessary deprivation of civil liberties under the guise of national security threat. And these are the questions which I wish to pose. Are national security and human rights in conflict? Is it a case of incompatible twins between security and human rights? Which should win? Can there be a balance between national security and human rights? These are some of the cardinal questions that prod the mind of those engaging in the discourse on human rights and national security as they seek to provide a way forward that ensures the furtherance of the state. To aptly synthesize the debate, we should ask ourselves a few questions. First, when we say national security, who do we necessarily have in mind? National security for whom? Is it for the regime or for the people? When we say national security, what is the reference point? What are the necessary conditions for national security? When we say human rights, what do we necessarily have in mind? The synthesis is simple. When national security is for the regime, human rights become useless in the furtherance of the regime in any place across the world. Political rights, such as the right to belong, picket, demonstrate, or assemble, as well as the right not to be subjected to arbitrary arrest, becomes a negation of the interests of the regime. But it is a national security built on a quicksand. As Brian L. Jobs argues in his book, The Insecurity Dilemma, National Security of the Third World, states, national security defined as regime security by state authorities becomes incompatible, pitted against the incompatible demands of ethnic, social, and religious forces. Such a state falls in the trap of insecurity dilemma as the repressive strategies to national security, a consequence of the underlying logic of the regime holders' interest in their short-term survival prospects, which cannot serve the state in the long run. The ensuring paranoia that sees human rights as being detrimental to the persons of national security can be summarized as a logical, self-defeating extreme obsession over security that at best resembles a house of cards. Let me elaborate by using a case of which all of you are familiar with, the Rwandan genocide of 1994. The paranoia that characterized the then Hutu regime of Juvenal Habyarimana would lead to the same regime adopting suppressive strategies to human rights orchestrated by the core political elite in the executive, the military, and the police in the name of national security. The result would be the Rwandan genocide. However, rather than end ethnic insurrections characterizing Rwanda between 1990 and 1994, it enhanced the downward spiral of the regime. Tutsi refugees in neighboring Uganda, under the umbrella of Rwandan Patriotic Front, would start a campaign to take back their homeland with little opposition except around Kigali, where the routed government forces in operation that began in early April and ended in July of 1994. Why was the Hutu regime of Juvenal Habyarimana defeated? Rather, invested on what it defined as security on the regime itself. To this end, therefore, we can argue that human rights are necessary for the well-being of the state as well as its national security. A national security built on suppression of rights sooner rather than later bursts in its own bubble, while one based on human rights ensures its long-term survival. This has foundation in social Darwinism, with Professor Totally University, Totally Jurisprudence. Incidentally, he awarded me an A. Yes. So, human beings strive to be free, and as social contract theory tellers are only united by the state to achieve the common goal of security. However, contrary to the logical understanding of Max Weber in his 1919 thesis on the state as largely holding the monopoly over the legitimate use of force, states that primarily dwell on force as the raison d'etre of their survival do not stand the test of time. Rather, a key ingredient of the state, beyond the monopolization of force, is the rejuvenation of the citizenry through the provisions of social values, key among them human rights. To this end, therefore, the state that upholds the rights to liberty and participation in political life, such as the right to life, equality before the law, freedom of speech, the right to fair trial, freedom of religion, and voting rights, and ensure socio-economic equality as a key tenet of the citizen's life by according the citizens with equal conditions and treatment and provisioning a right to be employed in just and favorable conditions, rights to food, housing and health care, as well as social security and employment benefits, will most likely be better able to safeguard itself from external machinations. Indeed, this is the key reasoning that the framers of our Constitution were thinking of in ensuring the inclusion of Article 43 on socio-economic rights in our Constitution. The need to ensure group and collective rights, the right to self-determination, the right to economic and social development, the right to a healthy environment, the right to natural resources, the right to communicate and communication rights, the right to participation in cultural heritage, as well as the right to intergenerational equity and sustainability is also the honor to ensure a happy citizenry in a happy environment. Should human rights be traded away in this manner in order to safeguard the community, or should human rights be inviolable? The answer is both yes and no. In time of public emergency, which threatens the life of the nation and the existence of which is officially proclaimed, the state may take measures derogating from their human rights obligations to the extent strictly required by the exigencies of the situation, while taking measures to notify competent authorities such as Parliament, provided that such measures are not inconsistent with the Constitution and do not involve discrimination solely on the ground of race, color, sex, language, religion, and social origin. Furthermore, in the age of Ebola, SARS, avian flu, swine flu, and all manner of communicable diseases capable of transmission across the globe, a short-term notice on curtailment of freedom of movement may, for instance, be required. Can we therefore balance the two? Across the globe, balancing national security in the protected rights against the object of the authorities in making the law that conflict with the right. In Canada, South Africa, and the United States, for instance, this requires that all laws be open to judicial assessment for compliance with the constitutional norms. In Australia, this can involve a court seeking to ascertain whether the law seeking to curtail a right is directed to a legitimate end, which is reasonably appropriate and adopted to serve that end. In balancing, however, as the crux of the paper's argument aptly shows, it is never appropriate to derogate from certain absolute human rights such as the right to life and liberty and the freedom from torture, regardless of the exigencies of national security. But there is a caveat. Rights must be addressed in lieu of ensuring socio-economic and political realities if there is to be a balance between the observance of human rights and national security. It is therefore paramount importance that states set up procedures and legal framework capable of waiving the sometimes overblown claims of threats to national security. Such procedures and laws would be able to test such claims of threat, explore their relations to the exercise of civil liberties, and establish the limits of such restrictions. If the balancing approach will necessarily be engaged, as Ben Golder and John Williams argue in the article, Balancing National Security and Human Rights, assessing the legal response of common law nations to the threat of terrorism, the decision makers should require the most cogent empirical evidence available that the proposed means of achieving the goal of community safety and national security will actually be effective. This rule of balancing requires the decision maker to justify the derogation of human rights by reference to a demonstrated link between the means which derogates from the human right and the end, community safety and national security. In the context of a parliament legislating prospectively, this will require policymakers to make some attempts to forecast the social, political, economic impacts of their proposed actions. In conclusion, therefore, the two, human rights and national security, need not be in competition. National security and promotion of human rights remains the government's core business. As such, insecurity remains the liberty's greatest threat and government's greatest responsibility. It is a delicate balance. It is therefore gratifying that this year's MOOT competition topic addresses these current and vexed topics. In the course of your deliberations and debates, it is my sincere hope that you will be able to learn and appreciate the ramifications of the two topics that you have chosen to interrogate. At the end of it all, it is my sincere hope that you will not only gain knowledge, but also enjoy yourselves in your presentations for and against the motions. Most importantly, you should take the opportunity in the 2 days of deliberations to make friends and establish linkages. It is now my singular pleasure to declare the MOOT competition 2018 officially. A moment of silence. Thank you.
Judge Kimaro, Madam Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished sponsors and supporters, I'll be very brief. I thought I would have made my comments before Judge Kimaro spoke.
It's okay.
So that he would not have shown his hand. That is to say, I wouldn't have the benefit of knowing what he was going to say. But I think everything happened for a purpose. I want to start by saying that although my very, very able assistant, Dr. Maricela, had agreed to come and make remarks on my behalf, when my appointment for this morning fell through, I decided to come myself to say goodbye to you, the scholarly community of the law. As you must have read in the media, after almost seven years in the state law office, I have moved on to pursue other interests. And since I have been associated with this school since it was founded, I actually opened this building, and I have been associated with the MOOT. I thought I should come and say goodbye. Not to mention, like Judge Kimaro has intimated, that one way of always feeling young is by staying with the young. And there is no better place than in the university. Not only because people are young physically, but because they are young in the ideas that they possess. I think the MOOT Court continues to be a very important forum for our students to test their knowledge of the law, their ability to present it, their ability to convince. And as I used to say when I was a teacher, I used to say to my students in jurisprudence, there is no right or wrong answer. There is only a well-argued case. So don't spend your time worrying whether you wrote for me the right reply. There is no right reply. Just let me hear the arguments that support whatever position you've taken. And if they are sound, then you are on the way to become a good lawyer. Mr. MC has made some very, very complimentary comments. I think that is because he obviously is a man who looks into the future. The more allies you can make in life, and the less enemies you make, the farther you can go. But it is true that I have had the singular privilege of being involved with the law for 3 decades plus. I have argued cases in international tribunals and forums, at the ICC, at the ICJ, and many other places. And I know this to be true. You are receiving in this country a very sound legal education. I have never appeared in any international forum where I felt, oh my God, I need to find a properly educated lawyer to tell me what is going on here. In fact, with some modesty, if I may say, On many occasions I have felt that we were not communicating with my interlocutors because their understanding of the law, to my own mind, is threadbare. So you are receiving a good education, Mr. Dean. You should be proud. And this moot court is evidence of that. I have listened to students arguing, and I think you have the capacity of any good student anywhere in the world. As regards the topic of today's business, let me just say one thing. I think, like Judge Chimaru has said, that this, and I think one of the representatives said, this is such a relevant issue today that the organizers must be commended for choosing this topic. The challenge of maintaining a stable, viable, constitutional democracy on the one hand, and respecting the rule of law and human rights on the other, is a daily struggle. And in the 7 years that I was in the state law office, not wearing a professorial hat, I spent a lot of time in court telling the judges, like they say in Kavirondo country, mos mos, move slowly, move slowly. Because we are, my view was, we have a fragile constitutional democracy in a very dangerous part of the world. We are surrounded by porous borders where thousands upon thousands of people are refugees. Some of them are armed, some of them are radicalized, some of them are dangerous. And we argued with very good, solid lawyers who have the other argument. The government is making excuses. Instead of developing robust institutional capacity, government is using crude force. And then we would argue and argue, and the judges would decide, sometimes largely in the whatever. So, I'll just say sometimes largely in the middle, sometimes a little this way or that. Let me give you a very concrete case that I want you to, in my view, it typifies for us in Kenya this dilemma in very clear terms. 5, 6 or so years ago, the government arrested 2 nationals of a Middle East country who had come through our airport and who had been tracked by the people whose business it is to do that. Those 2 nationals had enough explosive material to blow up the whole of Kenyatta International Conference Center, plus one, plus something to spare. They were arrested in their hotel room, their computers were confiscated, their phones were taken away from them. Using that material, security forces went to where this TNT was buried in Mombasa. It was recovered, a prosecution was mounted. Last week, they were convicted. Last week, 2 weeks ago, the Court of Appeal overturned the conviction. On what basis? On the basis that there was a lack of, those of you who are evidence lawyers, that the chain of possession of some item or other had not been properly established. I don't know what is the right thing or the wrong thing. I want you to think about such a case. I have no doubt that the court has affirmed the importance of procedural law, the importance of the human rights of the suspect, and so on. I'm not sure myself what the court has said about the security of the threatened state itself. I don't know whether the court is wrong or whether it is right. I'm one of those jurists who believes that once a court has spoken, it must be right. And if you are unhappy with the result, you go to the Supreme Court. I am told the Supreme Court has taken up the matter. I just want. So when you finish the MOOT court, come down to the Supreme Court and listen to that case, and then you will see that what you are involved in today is a live, very contemporary issue. Before I sit down, I want to thank most of the organizations here represented for the support they gave me in my term in office. We did some wonderful work on some very groundbreaking human rights defending legislation. We passed an anti-torture law after 9 years of trial. We passed a coroner's law to call upon security agencies to account for unlawful death after. We passed a Victims Compensation Act and set up a Victims Compensation Fund. And last but not least, we set up a legal aid scheme. For me, the legal aid scheme is the signature legacy issue. I became a legal aid worker in first year. Now don't ask me how long ago that was. The dean knows. Miss Young knows. But I'll leave it at that. Legal aid is so important. Otherwise, everything we do with the law will not mean much to the majority of the people because they will have no access to the law. So, I want to thank you so much for inviting me and to wish you very well in your competition. May the best lawyer win. Thank you.
As long as you learn something, then decide that is the main essence of being a lawyer. And so without further ado, I'd like to end this session, the opening ceremony, and thank all of us. Immediately after this, we'll be having a photo session. And the photo session will be at the Kusol Square. So what is going to happen? We're going to leave. First, our guests will leave and head to the Kusol Square. Then we shall all leave. At the Kusol Square, where we shall take the official photo session. Then we shall be having refreshments for the participants at the cafeteria, and immediately after that, we shall be having our competition beginning. So for the judges and the people who are representing us, I'd like to request you to go to the 6th floor, which is up where you are in the morning. That is where you're going to have the refreshments and the briefing session immediately after the photo session has been completed. For the students, we'll be having U1, which is on the other side of the building. That is where we'll be taking our refreshments. For matters of assistance, the washrooms are on the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. For anyone who needs, on my left side is the gents, on my right side, on this side is the ladies. Thank you very much, and I hope we all have a wonderful competition. And we pray that we have a successful competition. Thank you very much. God bless. Thank you.
I am the president of the All Kenyan MOOT competition 2018, and I've been in this committee for the last 4 years. I joined the committee when I was in first year, and I joined as a member, became the communications director when I was in second year, became the assistant coordinator when I was in third year, and now I am the president of the All Kenyan MOOT competition in my final year of All Kenyan MOOT competition. And the All Kenyan MOOT competition is a competition that was started 6 years ago by the third class that ever began in Kenyatta University School of Law. Ideally, what we do is bring together students from all law faculty in our country to be able to assist us in engaging in a discourse of what exactly a pertinent issue or a contemporary issue in the legal fraternity happening at that time. So ideally, it's just a conglomerate of where all law students in the country meet and engage in that issue.
My name is Nelly Jolibonchuta, a law student at Kenyatta University School of Law, 4th year finalist. As a lady, I feel honored to participate in such an amazing event, and being one of the organizers, it has helped me inspire other women who feel like human rights activism is a big challenge and only men can do it. And as we've seen over the years, human rights activists like the feminism movement and even how the CEDAW Convention came about, it is through the activism of women and women who come together to work together.
My name is Mike Bruno Tim. I am a 4th year law student at Kenyatta University, and in All Kenyan MOOT competition, I am in charge of the memorials. Basically, the main challenge that we face is All Kenyan MOOT competition as a committee is how to raise the funds that enable this program to go on. Annually, we have to seek funds from sponsors, and this year we managed to get sponsors from very able NGOs such as INLO, Engage, Kenya Human Rights Commission, Kenya Law, who have always supported us ever since we started the KMCC 6 years ago. Well, that depends. For example, in Kenya, we have our constitution under Article 25, which provides rights that cannot be limited. Such rights are rights to fair trial, habeas corpus. As it has been seen, the government always oppresses the human rights, its citizens, and the government should be the one that should implement these human rights. But as you've seen of late, the courts have given orders that these judgments be implemented, or the executive should implement these judgments, but unfortunately it's not doing the same. So in my opinion, I think the government has not done its job well. There's a lot that needs to be done. That's why we have international organizations, national NGOs that have come together this time so that we can advise, we can see a way forward of ensuring that everybody knows their rights. Now, human rights, there are many. There is a right to fair trial, which is provided by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and also our own constitution under Article 50. When you are arrested, you should be taken into custody, but you should be told why you're being arrested. And from arrest, when you're taken to the custody, you have a right to be released on bail. You also have a right to be released on bond. But as much as we have these rights, someone's right ends where the other person most begins. So you cannot just be exercising your rights without considering that the other person has rights. With that regard, as we enjoy our rights, we have to be careful so that we do not step on other people's toes, because we are all human beings and we are entitled to equality. We should be treated with fairness. So it's not only the government, it's also you as an individual. You should observe these human rights. Being a member of the All Kenyan Moot competition for the past 3 years, we as the All Kenyan Moot competition struggle to find the current happenings, what's happening in the society. For instance, this time, post-election, experienced a lot of killings, enforced disappearance, the government refusing to follow the court orders. So this time we thought that this theme on human rights was the best suited this time.
When students sit down and interact on this issue, I can give you an example. About 2 years ago, the United Nations Human Rights Commission, the United Nations Commission for Human Rights and Refugees, we conducted a moot court and the basis was on refugee law. 4 months down the line, whatever we had discussed in the competition ended up being something that happened in our country when the deputy president gave the directive to close the DAP camp. And we had already discussed this issue in the moot competition. So you find that we usually preempt something that's already there. So you find that even the cases that are ongoing right now, the Willie Kimani case, the Bikendo case, whatever judgments will be given by our judges here, most likely won't fall short of what people will have discussed here. So we usually shape national dialogue on matters of human rights. And I think this competition is not even serviced enough as to what it actually brings to the legal fraternity.
But human rights can only be implemented by you yourself. It doesn't start from the government or the institution or anyone. Human rights begins with you. You protect your right, I protect my right, and we correct the government whenever the rights have been gone against.
My experience has been nice because it's a bad year for me. So it has helped me in growth in terms of advocacy and expression in terms of different areas and different topics that I deal with. So the competition is bringing solutions to emerging issues which are affecting us. So for example, we try to bring solutions in human rights, which is a current issue, which we work in hand with the judiciary and the society to balance the goal.
It's a very hectic job. It's not easy being the president, but it's still easy because I've had the best team I could ever work with. The people that came into this committee have shown resilience. This success cannot be attributed to me alone. It can only be attributed to the entire committee, minus me, because without them, then we would not have done this. So I'd like to thank all of them. And the committee, and I'd say this year's committee has gone an extra mile to do what other committees don't. We've had this relation as a committee that I've loved because it's not only business, but we are able to be happy together and we have fun together. And when it comes time to business, it's business. So I'm very privileged to be the president of the team that is probably going to go down in history as the best All Kenyan Moot competition team that has ever stepped foot in Kenyatta University School.
Okay. So we, as AKMCC, we would like to invite all participants and all sponsors to the All Kenyan Human Rights competition, and let's talk human rights.
The rights and also how to get the information and who should get the information. But human rights can only be implemented by you yourself. It doesn't start from the government or the institution or anyone. Human rights begins with you.
For the winners, it's quite a big thing for them. Definitely they'll be able to get the prizes that we are, and the very beautiful prizes. They're also going to get IC material from our various sponsors, which can help them in research. Apart from that, we usually negotiate with our partners to be able to give them things that to be able to give them internship opportunity. And this helps them because as they grow and nurture their talent as lawyers, they need these internship opportunities, and it opens so many doors for them. So for the participants and the winners who are going to win this competition, just know this is the best decision you ever made, and after this, it's just doors that are going to open for you after the competition. I'd like to thank mostly our partners, beginning with Henry Sport Foundation, who have given so much, the time and everything, to be able to ensure that this competition is a success. Also, International Justice Mission, who I cannot be able to thank enough. They've sent in their team, they were in with our communications people, they were in for most of our planning meetings. Actually, personally, I'd like to thank Diana and our Maida and Kironji and Karis, who have really assisted us from IJM, and of course Mr. Kwektar, who have also assisted us so much. Kenya Law definitely for being partners for the long haul, and the promise that they made that will continue supporting us. We also have IMLU, the Independent Medical Legal Unit, who have come in on board this time round. We want to thank, and we hope that we'll continue with this immediately after. We would also like to thank Kaplan and Stratton, who have also assisted us, and Kenya Human Rights Commission, Mr. Martin Mavunjina. We'd like to thank you very much for the assistance you've given us. And of course, we cannot forget Kenyatta University, which is the school that hosts the competition, and also my committee. Definitely, I'd also like to thank you and the participants themselves, because I say this competition we might maybe have raised the largest amount of money, or we might have brought the best kind of judges, the best people to be able to open our ceremony. But if it were not for the participants, then this competition would not be there. So these are the key stakeholders, and we'd like to thank each of them, whoever has come to participate. Thank you very much, because you've made this competition is yours, and we cannot say many thanks to you, but I think that's sufficient.
I'd like you to welcome me to All Kenya MOOT Competition 2018 6th edition. Thank you.
Welcome guys to the 6th edition of the All Kenya MOOT Competition, where we're saying let's talk human rights.
And let's talk human rights.